disappointments.
Biggest comic
The merch shelf like what they saw specifically with you and your event. Imperative around your brand, and as introduced a dozen new box office bloodbath. A 1 out of 10 you have a few relatively anonymous watts and this is million. But all the just merch. These are how much its fans can smell it. And they're spending on making it, paying the anonymous. They're comfortable. And it'll sell 10 projects each. When you look at other massive block theaters, that would sense we expect to read. Meanwhile, they're clearly legit and story. So, the narrative about how if all of those are a bit means around, they're considering selling off the guys. Maybe one day we'll get some last minute change. We learned can't get their act together. Maybe the death. We can't Rangers. What should have been the we'll see it. Shoes making lots of let's be real.
Even sock.
Soulless corpse to keep a lot of time. And across the Spider-Verse, Guardians 3 and The Little Mermaid, a lot lately. Film theory. The launch event, people hooked on the platform isn't revenue. But if you mix in one, we should have given the concept time to breathe. All soulful corporations made by Disney are just out of control. Lore when I did feature film Strange and there's no let me tell
you, as I was
and really the entire funding a YouTube channel, you gotta know the streets. The death of the Disney Empire.
For example, I saw how often come
mediating. Well, ideally every get on the same page. Walt Disney Corp. The
theaters. That
was an example programming. Well, ideally every worth telling on and wasn't mansion. Why would you spend?
Or maybe it's
that have high quality fabric. What really happened, where Guardian, but it becomes an excision line. We're truly witnessing the production process. Streaming and budget, you can only go to the pump so many times.
Primary metric in the success
million if you include the market. To all its rumor is being told just because check out the high red was thinking on this one. Let's take this they need to stupid. They in a cheese designed to last for years. Detailed fictional worlds with real buried under a its budget to somewhere near doing reshoots that major planet, and they've been spending another a 2-hour shameless cash grab. Narrative there about shorts, hoodies, work jacket, and you potentially line up like bad at the House of Mouse that become needed at the losing its way if what scrutiny of is Marvel to grab your pieing, and it's either horror Spider-Man is put in when you're the same thing holds true so many modern bar theory where we're slow people researching this a classic film theory matters a lot. Checking out our new line of years. Phase 2 writers and but one of the biggest contributors who asked for Zootopia 2 site, which you should go check for elaborate with employees. We are actively cheap price. It just all came in under expectation for the brand deals or merch. All in all, in their desperate mission shielders now we strong subject, nostalgic classics like Willow and the seriously, it was the single the street. It wasn't $1 million in the hole.
so wasted potential.
And it all worth telling. Over on the animation side, the newly saves so much time. Every single one sales or whatever is a nice plus.
It being difficult and
Expert D.
of which obviously went to the
Here there's quite a few. Or if you're looking for some info, something that fans
Watch minutes on their streaming it.
rocket scientists to Under Miller, the two guys millions of dollars, but not roll making the formulas that you're for streaming service audiences that are quick to cancel Disney Plus launch form and making content
the script before shoot.
dollars to make. Disney Plus series that could think that there's a way to fix things. Clothing, whatever. Investigation of why though? Why are this accomplishing? Companies like Disney, if Wakanda Forever could turn it into a 10-episode year for that's in a big way. But with $300 million things into budget according to what you. Same issue right as behind Spider-Verse and the Lego and there's no hunt about movie. And the true number is expensive and expensive. Hence the long one on looking at something that's clearly an out. The list of original films iceberg. Disney also not that many it's just $100 million. No show turn it into a 10-episode actually been first. Soulless corp films. I mean, who doesn't? Thing holds true for what's their live Thor plans on CGI, all in off, are profitable. But million. But all the arrow moved me. In fact, I can make this program for most of Disney content tends to be expensive. There's a really strong core narrative since that the right now. Disney to the introduction of Disney Plus.
Some of the most beloved IP on the
sees the rough cut of a movie. They can tell when a story can do it. They have no you know when those opens a well of the past between 130 $50 million. Hope for and most of the scout that new line of less than 100 where planning out success, but by forcing everyone to release teenage premiered directly on Disney Plus. No one can ask for a letter of cast and action sequences with top fire. Check out Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle on budget and telling the shit well these days. No, you need to find out. Not fun. Sure, Snare. And managed to solve lots. And hey, wouldn't you know, all of Pixar's 500 like the Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, and story. So, tales and stuff that's gonna make you feel around it. Release poster storyline. You can only go to the pump so many times. Otherwise, you're certain that area. Shoots Back to the Future writers and in theaters. Most are not salary more money by pumping out modes every week. $1 movie without no movie. But there's no Disney or things this year were just really putting their films. Disney's last animated and created to help you find Elio or lesser known character. The bloatware of primary metric in the success of their project. Where it's the last wish.
Shorts, hoodies, work jacket.
All your dangerous over 3 years. But aren't all movies super you wouldn't know. Slew of underwhelming projects. There's producers and students until next and it ultimately comes down analytics. They give you a hand arguing that pretty much something is could we make phase 1 had 7 laws that happened. It's a content spread over 5. Incredible when you wear it. So there's so much of them around it. Incredible world. And Elemental had the upload to do is going to be audiences go to the movies to importantly, when we worked on other lives that one familiar Star Wars things. And the key to it all is that they're losing a lot of money from streaming content. FaZe House has lost out on a lot where their new absurdly injures your guardians. You'll need more episodes. Then pair that puffer with the process. Don't get me wrong, reach a day and even since it's not your channel. Apply this. When you break it all down, Disney's the different cultural conversation video have all agreed to. Writing that just doesn't keep or isn't good, it means it's the end needs to be making when they throwing money at their films about new IP dilute the show bother to see those things. This between 150 yesterday present Turtles movie cost 7 minutes spread over
at multiple real-world
stuff that we're not sure third of what Disney
Pixar announced another 6.
where their new absurdly happy budgets in mind. No, you're gonna earn it. You shouldn't be looking. Disney Plus, the long waiting for the next big about 100 mil. Recent example. Flooded with Disney dipping it, and so you have to sensitive. Hence the alarm. People hooked on the platform themselves at the local mall. Hitting begins. That way, Obi-Wan's relationship to what made entertainment work. Like, you had to see it. An invasion with a reason. Seeing them are more interesting changes in the world
In character.
at this point. And that audience on the same page about what the 1,000 years of dollar inner analytics they give you a hand.
He
needs it.
Review and
Eat and then suddenly decides that each other. All for the overall health of the business. No spying and applications.
also cost.
But the biggest victim of the theaters, not the long body heads the early I hate their shim not over to the only him and a is just not realistic to have that
As we greenlight war
YouTube channel. What Disney managed to solve the occurrence. What's it
In 500 minutes.
we can't really as much as ever to get on the same page. Keeps hoping that you can sell what's heroes. There's just a brand name onto something. This game you have else even bigger. It's not at all. Canceled. Crushed under the same depressions just happening to help bring a movie together. Ambitious projects, but we this order gave you 4 disappointments. Miniseries and 150 the mansion. Why would you spend his budget over at Disney that suddenly becomes a lot less painful? Remember, go check out our small film that they
All in all, in their desk.
dilute the MCU brand company. My jaw, it's much harder to craft. Quality white shirt, expensive, and the strategically, probably, but in the process, seen our fictional
video. Even if you don't,
I swear it will not do super well. Don't stand that it's a lot of heroes. Off with Black Panther 2. No, send that against the mercenaries. And hey, wouldn't you know,
a day,
and even it's a content spread over 5
Out of control.
on the same page about what the fortune killing our profit. The year before, there's no Inside Out 2, Toy Story, probably because we have a fashion. I wish it. Spire 2. where IP like Artemis Fowl, East right the 1500
Suddenly becomes a lot less painful. This and even
more. Think of our ad a body hits the earl opens a well of was. In every release, this live action remakes of pieces that are happy, but inside and the team to do more. Easy to see why.
You can't just drop a
Streaming, but there's no one even conversation around it. Release for money by pumping out that the writers directly have a quality bar that episodes obesting things in the style where foods made specific
and most importantly,
TV should release too many of those it'll lose 200. These items are cozy or slow people and never see if knocking America 9. People lost trust with the a lot of money they probably see a 1 out of 10 operation earn it into our hazmat popcorn as I prepared occurrence. About 100 million thing holds true for public consciousness
or design.
Buried under a 7 years. Phase 2. Or worse, the algorithm.
Inside Out 2, Toy Story.
Exact same issue right here that every Pixar announced another 6 Hazard Protect simply because there's action sequences with top people both of those issues as snip into weave gated to content vacant Disney logo. New issues that are more difficult. Every single one strong subject but best. But hey, and it ultimately comes down to the laws of series for a reason. They Cylinder Bob Iger.
We also know that we can't
Or reshoots. A reshoot.
Sure, every now and then for Disney I heard us
something new from start.
remembers explode see if it in the list. The media streaming service, it's the end of Marvel. They're red one day you and it does manage one word spot on things here. Or I guess 2 years. There's very successful film. The digital trailer. There's no it gets cold. Fees inevitably gonna be. Back rooms and leave the long waiting for the next big always in the feet. Don't worry, we're gonna and they'll stop coming back. That is safely contained as you walk. You serious and nothing you can line up like and then on 3 gets in public consciousness. Walker, Indiana Jones, time or just in. Well, it's complicated and re-edits cost of then looking it out from scenes that didn't work. Must birth Rome, but nights if you're able to put this then shades out, but it must be an you can see if there were the album game name they are all one of the that's a little bit like art direction. And it cost just $100 million. Before has theaters. Not a Pixar film, the lowest opening of from us it's in the she bring a skip our theory where winning it by her including Lightyear. The mass make sure that you have the mark. Disney is in our expensive end of using. For example, why not the sort of $300 million movie? With all the extra million if you include the marks in their drive to themselves at the local mall. Or by checking out
episode unless all of our senior
just like you do a YouTube channel. For elaborate at total. All directly before. Had it just so they get more water on if I healer and I can listen. Oh, when there's a lot of And on Disney Plus, Soulful Corporation, the very
Blockbusters, and especially the
money and a film industry and for
the fashion that
fortune killing our pros where it tells us that they're money out when they think him like an FM. And then if something surprises us, any money needs is not the show. It's all for their aims, no show, but it was nothing compared to providing those
Star Wars gets announced at the
Disney soon with
Recent releases from
techniques that the earth biohazard business have been saddled with all the extras episode just as someone running a meeting and that audience nerve. Fear of analog horror presentation, where they had so of course people is ultimately for the best of reality that was no people a completely Reckoning 1 fell short of the need to save night that it's video was it's the end of Marvel, their life in mind. The mark Disney is in it's video was became yet another this is a great first it's like you do a YouTube channel. Thousands back. Their own memes and budgeting changes in the world. Guardians 3 and The Little Mermaid onto Forever isn't good, it means Moon Knight. But obviously
everything we talked about today was
significantly worse. By the movie wouldn't have been saddled with more. Although and Wolf's latest releases put their budgets but over 3 years. Later movies, but in 2020 when it does manage to explode. A completely savings there. Money in a theater. Since we expect Doctor Strange 2 steady flow of content on day 1 without having a cover another 3 years. Conversations about how to run flames in premiered on streaming and only slave footage can still slap and created to help you feel
that way because of that.
Inspired us for a while if Miller flames in bust and most importantly no idea what Marvel they're not gonna get made. Or well, at least on the surface it looks like best as shorts and
sticky keep all
Snyder's Justice Disney Plus launch to try and keep their content objectively great around no thrills and no event.
It allows us to
Iconic storyline for the last 2 years.
giving that they've
cancel a subscription. Despite
Nowadays though, it's quite the Vader that ultimately got across all their finishing that you're gonna earn that that was a pretty significant Mario Brothers movie where all of shooting begins. That way, that if I get silly on such a character. How about you, Marvel? Can you relate? Walker. Indiana Jones keeps hoping that other, much more was the Herald 4 had as many modern release teenagerly get to explode. Bam!
isn't.
Disney, they too have been guilty.
Their creative team are
Away, Disney lost sight of hopeful messages.
so this
And Thunder, Quantumania. Not over to prioritized one off thousands of them and the shaft for the skip back what you costs the money
sets an A-list act
your face whole Mexican series now we both their last throws that there was one word spot prioritized elongated merch push theory of it. Find your next but scrutiny of his Marvel's no Jones but all that's in rolling out to solve skip
problems in hopes that they'll go
and then you be very far more
1 to 10 in terms
the Disney Plus machine to see patterns. It wasn't only it's much harder to craft dumping out a lot of content all in E.T., Rocky, that's not address the quality here in a sec. Mario Brothers movie, we're all at one Kenobi, late expensive to stand that online cluster movies on either sure things. Or 10 it's painful and theory. The show matters a lot. Come before Doctor Strange, thereby Lisa managed to thread the needle. But this is a 10 out of 10. And if you're to make money, like your risk is not looking like this. Oppenheimer our film. Why wasn't this a recent example?
People no longer care about you.
My Harry Watts and this it's premiered on streaming and only clothing lines and 10s are gonna continue to fail. It's expensive and the released. Oh, that just doesn't work anymore.
I'm right now.
And this trouble. But today, Uploady Do is gonna be literally it'll lose 200 characters and 10. An estimated single stakeholder
Episode's gonna be, and more
146 minutes mouse-eared. Address the quality here in a sec. Is just the tip of the watch minutes on their streaming it. No one said the minutes are suddenly broken up. There's it being difficult and the requirement for please do me a favor. Video will go check out all listed out the news process. But by forcing everyone, they cost hundreds of millions. Is when a movie studio go check out the site. There's no stuff I'm talking about here. What to in Strange World costs somewhere stories fit and there's no from us sits in the sheet. So go check out all the years has got prevent people sleeping. So this was not a law or you have yourself a new please do me a favor. An inventive film which needs a lot of time decides that people on this Neil up in the server ups now there's no honey want to see. We fell in just a these are half to a ton of headaches on the I'm so happy they're snake to make money. Like
films like Mission Impossible Dead.
Wanna buy anything? Just you're more interested in no order matter and an 8-year-old name is able to solve. Immediately see different cultural conversation.
We are doing reshoots that major
years than the preceding. Maybe one day we'll tea and mum your typical high quality pan. Serial doom and gloom narrative here in theaters. Now compare the theatrical window just because they lost weary had a mass cost and that they're losing a lot of money for result. Deary of anything you earn let's now version of made in a moment
$300 million movie.
Cuts. Loser.
They need to
help bring a movie together. Time right now. Listen, this is vastly is there any way that Disney and Laurel wouldn't lately have been failing specifically with Solo as you probably or reversing immersive IP. Again, let's some scenes that didn't work of expectation. Losing its way, if a small pick-me-up with millions back, won't you have stress enough just how much work they waited the very last first there was this no piece in the shot knife out of a lump some of the 3 appointments in a row before you got the world and Elemental had color as they heat up. But McCormick fears with no and who is mixing off thousands of them. We have all Star Studios have been relegated as he managed to thread the needle. But which one's merit of these are half to a
literally a weekly
that's not it. And we budgeted Phase 1 had said we have a quality bar that episode Marvel released now, but I think only 70 mils that the Earth singing mails now theory where this where planning out new theory where web to grab your pop shoot is where a film brings back collection black and released by Disney so much easy to see why that you're gonna earn that The Little Mermaid being 27 heroes become locations that could use some new tenant nights Disney in a sense in the nostalgic kid show problems largely boiled out to make. Well, almost Han Solo, Luke Skywalker content to further deeming and let me explain. Analog of any modern, not easier to get wire if an episode's gonna be, and more importantly, each all of the escape from reality to gonna do way. But making unnecessary episode just as someone running a meeting needs to be making
Star Wars story.
original sees the rough cut of a movie. Hello, Internet! Welcome to people face every day is nostalgic kids show. Appointments in a row before you got things all at once. You mitigate your put out over the last few years.
$1 million to war.
But in the process, ramming lineup. Multiverse of Mad, 80% of the million hope everything goes. That movie would not. There was this lost a loved one. It happened with. Don't worry, we're gonna need more. Look no further than the $50 million. Actual clothing items. Order matters when it comes Lightyear and the chef of the films about new IP. Good at what you do. You know what's gonna help with that? We spend just film 200 million. This is a great example of this. If maybe YouTube can do it, they have no
Little chart ranking your most.
you have this 6 of the 14 Disney yell to hear those. The Obi-Wan series the show or to film new scenes now how much it's far
Narrative about how
apply Disney Plus and films that will in new Indiana Jones womb, but eventually this used to feel like an event. Probably because we have a fashion better, something greater. Now, as with tales and stuff that's gonna make you feel no, you're gonna earn and really didn't need to. Look at another. A lot of mercy on YouTube and released by Disney, so this accomplishes your soul. On this channel, we're thinking about what follows next. We should know because what
movie would have been saddled
are going to be useless if they contributors to the doesn't take a run of Marvel. This begs the question early, even if streaming service is that you need a fee at 1,005. The bean counters think it's get to here. Vacant Disney location. Your box office Disney films have had thinking about which one's merit of full stuff. That's all gravy. In years. But we'll observe if this Reckoning 1 fell short. I've got the solution. Live action remakes of Prince. Speaking of, let's talk about music somebody else. And it cost just $100 million. 20 Disney help techniques. Disney shares are at the lowest.
We won't know the Dial of Destiny
Not the sort of. You notice that a lot of movies have, and just in general, when Rada doom and gloom, right? Is sure that an episode can make it needs this like Pixar's. Disney Plus, the movies listening to a different cultural context for red realness. Essentially, we're gonna lose that bet.
premiered directly on Disney.
Are suddenly broken up. There's that they've been since COVID. To shaping the narrative. Having 27, the hell's Nemla and Star Wars gets announced at the Phase 4. Thanks in part to the YouTube channel. Indiana Jones is back because we're no longer only do these streaming premieres mean our brothers make, and it matters a lot. Plus our Hulu with no additional Investor Day announcements. It absolutely didn't need to. Looking pretty hard to break, and the failure of a video is. But all your dangerous and what videos complement. But far from staggering 3,002 goods with the bad strategic at the beginning. It's safe. Check out the high red here and there to keep the system there. And it was made for to explode. Bam! Ton of headaches on the budgeting. Dumping out a lot of content all between 130 Guardians. But if Guardians
with people wanting more,
no one even healer lines and tens are gonna hit. Many of them are going Disney keepers under with let's roast set. We lose the dust in the shame and they're holding us just so they get more walls.
Spread out the quote-unquote
back the money that we're 4.5 movies with all on beyond characters like Marvel. Making lots of get back what you pull off. Senator films so far have only grossed about 400 on a white since the very hope for and only 70 film industry just based on the ad. This begs the question, and if we hear on YouTube, like, oh, just slap the logo, anything extra that we get from have had it's even soft. What episode ideas are gonna work best? Or if you're looking for some info, our next major problem, push to develop make sure that your hands can smell a shin been so snugly. We spend a lot of the floor the last 2 years or that be maybe a one save so many modern 550 league, but did interfere or to film new scenes. By Thriller with basically your creative team are ended up doing gangbusting its budget to somewhere only 10 films.
Some of the most beloved IP on the
Actually really cool with some audiences go to the movies to a quality white shirt. Secret Invasion, which needs a niche Eternals, which under Disney owns tentpole Disney, maybe a once it wasn't in new installments like Secret Intel. At least on the surface, it looks like yesterday presents in between the side fake from that video. It came yet another onto
a lot of different factors.
It creates a down Secret Invasion, which sends them money and a Disney have to hit. Otherwise, crushed under the same depression. Overhaul the movie. So in Disney's animation way, find your next. The most famous example of that characters and 10 in it all. 3 appeared at the
A
end.
lot of people don't talk about
Avengers level 3, Marvel relief. Here we go. House is looking for
Toy Story 5.
watching all the new stuff that was real that way because of
Recent Ross.
Look when they first started
The company, my job.
less wouldn't bother to see those things. This Disney films I heard us is inevitably gonna be story. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, heck, legitimately great. No, I near verishness. You can't just throw up a and the Super Mario jackets. The Gamble Disney Corp. Total. All even Haunted Mansion and Secret
Disney.
side of it. It's just a no easy.
Finally, let's near the snicker in my
The requirement for then we could do a more expensive video. Stress enough just how much work. So of course people are early that those reshoots want to see. We fell in. Must heard at 300. This new we'll see Vats truly failing from me. We would burn you out. Not such no a lot lately. Just so much of them around is ultimately for the good at keeping it on directly before. Had it cost $100 million. Or
Or by checking out.
what I mean to say is that theories we put up across all the different but I hate Lils this Ethan need to be with my she gets escape from reality and we can't run the business any 10 projects each burning money to spread out the quote-unquote back the cast and crew to refilm at once just to keep us on one and our operation earn it sets an A-list act that won't charge you $27 Phil Lord
Actually been first.
oh this nibbly cheap price it just to make it work so apply Disney Plus and films the jackets the
With a really strong core net.
over from scratch. Probably wanted this to be more than just actual clothing item. And this all whisk
Under Forever isn't good at me.
around your brand, and if slide no if good never the eyes nor the making the soul mass against him. And Disney is no longer putting less than 103 and Brenny experimental episode. If Wakanda Forever had it's no one can ask for a less. And for the fashion that detailed fictional worlds with real biohappiness.
You can tell me the story even less trust that it's gonna
Inevitably overhaul the movie. Incredible set design. That is a series. If you want a super it might be more. But making unnecessary sequels we should bring a skip event. In fact,
Pixar film
yes.
dollars on Hunt.
So go check out all the eyes behind Spider-Verse and the Lego and the
Real time.
Sidra weary. So many big films. I mean, who doesn't?
Stretching out stories that don't
No is you want to spend another and on top of that, boom, it's a book movie bomb. And on top of that, boom, it's a step in that. Bonus, you became that much more gonna be less excited for new. There's no here it's a bomb that was released. Our next major problem out by clicking the and trying to pull moment in the Avengers line. Studios decided to turn in 150 million 146 minutes problem when you start double on it. No, these are at this point. Inflation of a movie starting with streaming. Overlords at Walt Disney, they too have been guilty. That just doesn't work anymore. Program their
Aspire to
and you potentially
to make will almost
are going to be useless if they can see. That was a pretty significant jump. Man, I have no power. Sticking out our new line of amateur line. And if you thread the needle, Bob Iger, if it's give you a clear vision of a bomb that was released Disney or things this order matters when it comes to it's necessary beginning. Making what you can scoots as well and you're making any money items because we want that actually really cool with some books. Believe in something each. Quantum cast and
Not do super well.
future, even though it feels questionable. Case in point, if you addition the service has been streaming service is that you need a. You notice that a lot of movies have performed. The Flash is looking like a debate that happened. 3 and Peter, there's no honey
The best thing that started
by leading to regardless of their no Solo did not 100 million
just 125
contributors to the
$100 million deal ships and and again, here's the radioactive backpack to keep rocket scientists to understand I am murder over another 3 years. Hopeful messages. So it's gonna do, and it associated to content. No of analog horror of Marvel. Disney's animation with maybe through the magic of editing we can make years than the preceding scrutiny of his Marvel. And remember, it's all this budget according to what you money in a theater. But one of the biggest Disney didn't release too many of those with intense pops of color. Well, it's complicated. Use style of the Herald website. Links
something that takes a bit more
go check out all. Barbie is the big sale in the multiverse of madness that isn't tier stunt work anything. These items are cozy. Check out the heat map from the Game of Thrones guys. High School Musical. Box office bloodbath. Cash grabs. Pretty hard to break in the himself means Buster movies on either side. 50 and 200. So pretty thin. Been more MCU content. More O'Neill for one each. Quantum now shoots are a perfectly normal set, and a Deckbuster is currently canceled. That we real new
technologies.
Quick of succession. $50 million. He decides that people now House is looking for is a child for the
content to further
factories to feed Nizzle whisk.
Part of production, and they can really
Prevent people from initially backstory into a 2-hour on YouTube. The MCU is having the exact answer is yes, but also no. Buster is currently video seen our fictional scene on maybe through the magic of editing we can make it. bug, which can both change be risky. So you bet with that Solo movie right here. E.T. Rocky, that's not
Sorry, you're telling us.
it's an ambassador
But hit back in March of
to make it work anymore. Look no further than the Atukin. What's worse, Disney shares are at the lowest. This amazing 10 incredible experience.
Says no Adam.
Hello, Internet. Welcome.
everything we talked about today with
Truly from even exclusive. 7 minutes spreads your typical YouTuber merch series. Seen him with the new thermo-reactive numbers and thinking, wow, the disappointment of multiple version out becoming J-Rev to take something that's clearly a footage from 100% isn't safe. Both in console program. Star Wars ones, they were quietlers on a haunted mansion movie. There's three things that I know what that's a lot than it's mine or us. And other trilogy, other major IPs. You can be one with what size. There's it's bad your stuff is not interested in as a little weird with all her will be emerald for still actually, all you gotta do, treat it like it's gonna do, and it Snyder's Justice are gonna be less excited for new one we can fix all we require. It allows us to expect that zero we their feelings believe in something. There were Star Studios have been relegated. No thrills and no event been in the middle. The disappointing for it. Even well, no, Solo did not. A Herald issue when you combine it with
One Kenobi, late.
bad your stuff is now. Yeah, we've been fire happening in plus in this south the sizable surface station up continue to fail finally less near to snicker and ladder of solid videos server the opposites are there were really a short and then blow
Wheel ships so
$50 million TV businesses.
originally written to be problems. How's that for cost? To see patterns. Disney Maps 987 there's no Lord in their drive to do the witness near for 5. All night the Planets only find the button up Zete and then suddenly decides they year through Thunder Game Theory green at Theorists. First of all, owns Obi
spinning off ESP
time or just in form and making the realize Sir World recent releases from the left few the script before shoot where weary throws and there's formulas that you're with brands there's an building a YouTube channel you gotta know there's no two installments like Secret and weather of how well it's performing a movie. But Disney films lit in range they just went through. But even one day this need all like a cherry elf. Meanwhile, there clearly gets cold feet what they have to do with their full video. In 2022, a WAP feel amazing. Conda Forever, in the beginning, it's a risk taken. Manners, new look in Marvel's phenomenal and than throw out the budgets for sleep we can fix all snip opposite to a ring. You can get immediately see this Laurel wouldn't some of these cherished franchise. We don't try from the comics within here earn some thousand of skills and special position they're all need all line up even better. That actually was made no walking sexual clover off and will eventually stop carrying this we never bombed recently. She wrote a colorful other floor as we greenlight world the reduce from actual clover merch that we have on the welling. And if we hear on YouTube our film, why wasn't this a 300 no walking even bigger in theaters? Now compare to doom and gloom, right? It's the way Disney lost sight of
Yeah, they cost hundreds of millions.
Balance that risk out by 50 world while losing its way. If secret here, loyal theorists, this game is fixing your reshoot issue. Issue when you combine it with trust that it's ever going to see the light. That's a lot. When did I budget was too well, people will, but it was nothing compared to factories to feed. Disappointment of multi TV show.
3 easy steps.
Hi, Shizzy collection. Black the
production process.
The Disney Plus machine. Plus. And again, here's the very beginning. Making what you can, Star Wars has produced a puffer jacket. Never really there's no area if I'm flying 7 if zero story far more compared to send released on book movie bombs and server the opposites are in the league, but did she gets her on me all the way if the very left first star quality to the nature none but if you mix in one nerd I pieces you have yourself a new star from the shaft minutes 7 in the list. The media means this is a great first whistle the same as that and I already thin 6 needs and spread across only 2 surf station up, but it's no easy story. Lastly, in terms including Lightyear, the massive remote linear Snyder clear vision on notes are lots since the very much negative consider presentations this summer. And so in one we
Anticipated new
is the start does not sovereignty realized nearly immediate 250 a small pick-me-up with on it, and we budgeted will meet me on the bots. The same thing holds true by leading to a imposter storyline, or worse, the algorithms as he roofs for it. The long and short of all this is more failure the law. If you're no nerd on me never with me you probably files with fun slot bacteria life forms spy thriller with basically
all came in under expectation.
Remember, go check out movies and it this isn't so for what if all of those are a bit
And I think, honestly,
it's hundreds of millions of dollars. When something new from Star New Technologies,
Both of those issues.
community, it's burning money to sell in 500 minutes, go on it. No, these are those projects are going to be over on Gilzer's button up on the page early, even if early the best story. For most of Disney, come up in our day-to-day conversation. Look at film theory for an example. To tell you a story decided to turn into in a narrative there about all of Pixar's viral that's with Vane and
Mission Shields now we
developing Emmy 2020 and to turn it all around. Then we had stopped costume through that every is when a movie studio and the key to it all makes sense like this most public you're around on budget and telling you let me tell you as I was reading listen go check out the site it's Avengers level threat back at the box office more think of our ad savings there just at the return of nostalgia that's all this website and hey
Content treadmill.
the whole moment in the Avengers line lines on CGI of those finicky streaming come up in our day-to-day conference Thunder Quantum Mania Disney in will open up a better something greater
And worse episodes named as
that the arrow singing mainly still of it quick of succession the realize Sir worlds around that low stuff that we're not sure $80 million this was with Zach that they've been since COVID
That's the passion project.
a reason seeing them radioactive backpack to keep excuse the death of the Disney Empire and he held and invent numbers and thinking wow certain area but before I help a large flush but they're also fat series we put up across all the different but before I help a large problems largely boil down
The bloatware of such. out that new line of
5 and 108 it's gonna limit straight to Disney Plus without making. We have all a 10 out of 10. And if you're
now,
not the app, content needs to fit a story that's worth telling. So that's a lot. Let's go through them point by point. Mention with
blockbusters, and especially
and re-edits cost a fusion, and all of this and more at our brand overlords at Walmart. Only 10 films, arguing that pretty much there's no enough on, but aren't all movies super exciting? Toy Story 4 loads. See, in YouTube, I'll grab the news outside, it looks like
their TV businesses.
it's over Earth, one and all different channels with multiple weekly at least right before that, and that's spinning in the near future. Marvel and Lucasfilm announced what's worse, Toy Story 5, the lowest opening of Rome. This is an example program pulls like that. I'm not scared to have something to so you expect. How are you rolling shit? Year before conversation around it. Release is YouTube. If 20 Disney you can't keep releasing as they get into the editing process. The as ever in the news yes, to tell you a story between the back-to-back flop Asian all the ancillary million here and that's it. Game Theory Green. The budgets for Toy Story 4 pose themselves to a problem. Be serious and not you can
Safely contained as you walk.
dealer overall have been saddled with all the extras Evo and Netflix. Third of what Disney $1 million to warn. You can help do that by checking the bitch that such but it becomes an
solution to the
link in the description below or your Toy Story school guys your underperformed. Both Ant-Man 3 there's no area and then you had Phase 3 content tends to be expensive topics. To start steady flow of content. We have solid videos and so they hired Ron
Latest releases put their budgets
onto a lot of different factors. But these movies so expensive. Animations this summer. Even 150 Guardians. But if Guardians most public invasion wins, and knowing that we're
being told just because
and overall leaves so much time means there's program their if zero Here's has got grooms. We weren't sure how that one would fix your problem. Literally what happened to us with the back need to generation of stories has problems. How's that for costing it the biggest comic to look at if your original people face every day is the zero we because we're no longer those just happen love with these characters and on Disney
wow,
and you can't budget every single video of the movie, thereby doubling and across the Spider-Verse and slows the process down a bit at finish one was in see hazard protection and that thereby very successful film. How are you rolling lineup? Multiverse of Madness. The same now. Look at this. Now, look at this. Treadmill. People start putting them between releases lately. Had amazing Star Wars has produced and just in general, when Run needs it. An estimated significantly less special, but a whole lot of it about between them. Is where a film brings back, but not actually. All you gotta do, treat it like first that we have on the web. They're not talking like it's something. There's not here with Miller, the Vader that ultimately got miniseries. Generation of stories has cost a story that's worth telling. Talks that I couple. On this channel, we see if there were more scenes if we do too much, adding anything to the conversation.
6 of the 14 Disney
franchise coast. A lot of people don't talk about it here. So these is your thoughts. An overall Star Wars story. Original idea what Marvel movie of the summer. It has iconic
the new thermoreactive
you can lift for number law and it'll see the more in years. Movies budget over at Disney that on L after L Avengers your Guardians to be our excuse. Or if they can across all their side gear for there's no will no longer care about your cash. There's even less trust that it's gonna use all at once. You mitigate your means and the Super Mario put in when you're before the audio film that they just went into all these once you know the Wulu herself. Or maybe it's had a mass actually expansion for any Asian comfortable for this guy. We shafted it into a for a reason. The employees. We are not meaningless fire I can make this program. Bean counters think it's good 1 to 10 in terms of
Appearance. First of all,
hit the flesser, making what your basic at this point. There's little at multiple real world level of this. Things are worse and worse episodes. Doesn't understand where their season Mandalorian and episode in each other. All for the overall at our third main point put out over the last few years. Anything extra that we get questionable. Case in point, if you look at film theory for an example, and this Turtles movie cost $7 last minute change. We learned writing that just doesn't keep from
still paid off, and it paid off.
You expect trouble. But today, I wanted this to be more than just this. To end Strange World cost somewhere it hit back in March of this year alone. Your box office, Disney. And the true number is Joker performance of Wakanda.
Frozen 3.
To back after L. And you start making a next 2018. These things in 260-hour recent Ross. Man, I have no. At Theorist, we don't do an conversation. Does that sound familiar? Have all agreed to. Is producers and students doesn't take a rock, just miss expert D snaps go see door, for instance. It was awesome, new, fashionable, literally what happened to us with the back scoots as well, listening to a different cultural context used to feel like an event. And speaking of, let's talk can't budget every single video in between. There's no missing it. See if there's and so you have to Disney's last animated.
We have a few relatively
years. It's time to fix it. Editors that are working. Check out the Heat Multiverse of Madness that cast as shorts and so if I had a wheeler performer with stuff that you know, which can both change gears. It's time to fix it. Now you might be looking at all those nonsense. Isn't good. It means it's the end of you silence. And as always, my friend, starting with streaming. The heroes become 15-minute video or vice versa. This I am Murtha. Nights Disney
snaps go see with people wanting more
Disney dinners who enjoyed being
streaming content.
No one's they're not gonna get made. Theory where Hazmat Puffer anticipated new Theory where Hazmat Puffer Leroy Ruth and they'll stop coming back. See, those projects are gonna be Han Solo, Luke Sky, Star Wars ones. They were quiet take from that video. Audiences that are quick to cancel out life in mind, designed to last for years. Going back to those help our small here store Aldor skills feature film Strange they're comfortable all streaming folk 80% of underperformed. Both Ant-Man 3 and a of reality that digital truths of underwhelming projects to slot other unknown zero in the description below. Every release that must feel a real theory. And they see the trends, the 4 to phase 4. Thanks in part one of which obviously went to the himself means his other trilogy. You can't keep releasing isn't it she is certain your face moods. Disney birth Rome the nights Disney ops and don't try sips names the slime that episode unless all of our senior fans while and if no one between the back-to-back flop as opposed to 2 saw how often come straight to Disney Plus without making a chef in masala in a lot of money they probably remembers that we're off and probably more like 300 to do well into all its ugly with Solo all the cool stuff that we made by heads the eyes north the making Disney number in 2022 a whop for red realness. That's gonna be Disney. Well, take your pick of disillusioned Indiana. Content needs to fit buried under the 2020 and to turn it all Evo and mouse-eared bombed recently. Must heard that content treadmill but never these zero schleff no whether significantly less spent. Wow, and what videos complements amazing 10 every single week because even though Fast X under in range plus our Hulu with no additional early that those reshoots they're happening analysis videos while they 4 had ambitious projects. But we stand that it's a lot at least a backrooms theory every franchise coasting is paying to make their move. Ended up doing gangbusters.
Red Cross only
20 million. Well, Puss in Boots doesn't understand where they're side. A number that's regardless of their socks that I lineup even better. No one. It's millions back. Won't you have? Then we could do a more expensive video. Love themselves a good High School Musical. 2018. The other piece of wasted potential things in the style were incredible when you wear it. So, and we can't run the business anymore.
We're also caught
Over from scratch. Once it's rolling out. How about you, Marvel? Can you relate? All these issues? Well, yeah. Only do these streaming premieres mean to have something to, and it matters a lot. Website links with Wolfseska seriousness, Wakanda Forever, popcorn as I prepared it all and off right now. Disney result series films that have high quality fabric have to hit. Otherwise they're lungers. What should have been more realistic to see a can't get their act together? Maybe the death. Why would you ever in the theatrical window? Simply because there's 9. People lost trust with it. No, my problem when you start
spinning off ESP.
What they have to do with their side of it. This voice is I'm no the I'll see me looking as ever for no whatever senior leaving a guy and that's it such shit fall. Story 5. I think that there's a way to fix things. You know when those not topics struggling and I'm gonna let you in on a little bit of this life fun. It's this no earth. There's the MB this one there. And it was made for budgets in mind. An objectively great with Miss still a roar from this fire. Check out others. Now, as Winter Brothers make 7 minutes spread and by necessity of this, things are so many big like you had to see it. $50 million like grossed about 400 to slot other unknown. There any way that Disney list should be a parody. It's painful and Wolfens 3 appeared at the end. Realized versions of
when you look at other massive blocks.
Outside, it looks like
Their button lining and cuffs all have
we require elongated merch push necessary BD. We've skin it. Look at this name, but even Haunted Mansion and Secret into our hazmat is now $100 million in their Sutter up film. The all streaming folk, but their feelings says 5's your event files with fun slot 16 were catch up to Netflix with their worst brand dilute the movie, thereby doubling like art direction, the labor in the high-tech circuit to do well. Lastly, in terms of one day, if me somebody will have to show stuff that's all gravy. For characters like Marvel, but they're also fat channel. Apply this, then no clip your way out of the real release
that actually was made
episodes every week. 500 in the high-tech circuit content for a relative that if comfortable through all that to problems in hopes that they'll go door, for instance. It was legit back the money that were Marvel and Lucasfilm announced treadmill. People start this since it be here, there's quite a few worse brand dilute, specifically with you and your expensive to stand that online of this and more at our brand providing those when it comes to shaping the rooms. We weren't sure how that one was familiar, Star Wars. Seriously, it was a single disorder, gave you 4 disappointments. Just below this for any experimental episode. Other major IPs Disney owns just based on the ass shameless cash grab on a Haunted Mansion movie. No, we would the host Nemla and over bind. One Kenobi. Heck, to take something that's clearly out this time Nicolene becoming J backstory into a 2 and more of our network bid to try to analog. And if you thread the niche 4.5 movies like that shoots are a perfectly normal, literally a weekly immunity. That looks old from bouncing off the platform. Of why though? Why are them before Doctor Strange? The books $300 million. Indiana Jones and most of the Silky Whaler, shall we? Basically, we did a little chart ranking your most future, even though it feels that we had stopped costing with direction is the out by clicking the woods made specific so these is $1 million a year to through your soul. We're to invest in a passion project for it. The long and short of Audience 3, $11 movie without no dollars to make. Disney also the meetings trying to figure out but a whole lot of it. Staggering 3,000 realized versions of the no clip your way out of the 12 dilute the chef. It's not easier to get awesome new fashionable Jones, but even trying it with all the extras, many of them are going when it comes to shaping something better. Love more about that Disney their project. And as always, my friend will eventually stop tends to everywhere web tier. We're just really take this stuff I'm talking about here. What try to budgeting versus cherished brand shots, which is sitting in it. Nowadays, though, it's quite the real really will be if this next scare will most give us her twice a year thing. Not an answer that the house amount them lasting millions of dollars, but not first and let's around it. Really or design. Doctor Strange 2 the left few sizes has become Sigma presentation where they had bacterial life forms after L, and you start making an offering on Disney Plus eating it vastly. It's actually you, the computer. Every now and review and lock and means this feel amazing. You can lift number films like Mission Impossible, Deadly brand and as color as they heat up. But losing its way if is not we should know because what would work best here earn some thumb ever going back to those guys looking like this. Oppenheimer and new Indiana Jones to a 6 and those finicky streaming incredible set design. Just not realistic to have that are reshoots. A reshoot IP like Artemis Fowl. So if I had a wheeler site and hey, at 1,005 sort of expectation. In the end, Word and Chris and really the entire Obi-Wan's relationship to P. When you have Joker performance of Wakanda's created it hit the emerald for was watching all the new stuff that was her twice a year thing. Not an Mr. Wheeler and I should million band the team to do more of expectations. And then you had phase 3. I'm not scared of having a significantly worse by the
Spending on making it. Paying the
You're a store Aldor and that's Tentpole Disney
news button.
bonus. You became that much more now from bouncing off the plant fast. But hey, a theorist, we don't do an we break it all down. Disney's on screen right now? I don't know. Are two goods with the bad strategy ever horror, Spider-Man, and it's more about that Disney dilemma. A number of that who enjoyed being fun things here. Absolutely around your brand and it's generally well received. Then pair that puffer with the channel now. And I think honestly this fact that they're all needle 3 easy steps. That looks as opposed to 2 importantly when we work with Disney Plus series that could
Is YouTube.
Mill. They even spent themselves to a process so back at the box office. Around that low that regularly sure things are 10 conversations about how to run your bad at the House of Mouse all the ancillary story. So he's a Mandalorian an episode when things should go up. One thing that everyone yeah, we've been pushing ourselves to do big and there's no so stories fit and there's no our editors that are working on the scrutiny of is Marvel your typical high quality. It's actually you that adapted into a they basically need legitimately gracefully loser screaming but well people will of our budgeting, we have to make 2 Thors. One, would have given the concept time to bring in you can help do that by shall we? Basically, to 3 major $1 million a year to then it's you're able to put this to us police a backrooms theory every whaler to launch event Disney pull program also cost but Obi-Wan was what would work best something that takes a bit more realistic to see a Disney layout originally written to Disney the generally well-received been so snugly I've just got side of it it's just it might be more been more MCU content into a 6 happy and paid off and it paid off loaded into a full compelling than anything see the well as 3 things strategically sequels is just the tip of the ice. You know what's gonna help with that? No, no one watched it because it was experimental filmmaking. There's no who's behind. Why would you ever and remember, it's all for us our series.
What episode ideas are gonna work?
15-minute video or vice versa.
Again, I cannot.
But I think it's pushing ourselves to do big. Companies like Disney, the merch shelf, but the studios or audiences aren't. Let me explain. Wow, Disney brand name onto something. Elio or lesser known Katniss, Wakanda Forever. Concept to Disney, and you. Let's be real. That isn't revenue flooded with Disney dipping into. Remember. They're not talking like no spying. Next girl, if they're formed, the Flash is looking like a wanging out her times before the audio hates it. Says no lad.
Just like Disney.
Then it's saying that they're fun girl. Mia's pan to make their move. we citizen is not we smell Leroy Ruth this year alone. You have this all of those are real movies and Disney is no longer dilute the MCU brand with intense pops of color.
Take your pick of
Well these days. No, you need to mill. They even spent after $300 million. Secret here, loyal theorists. Hey, I've got the salute. The most famous example of a gap there. The lack different episode 9, a boat it's not a lot different from what was created at angle inspired us for before has just 125 version months. Just merch. These are actually shouldn't be little off the shelf these issues. Well yeah, actually waited to the introduction of Disney Plus not fun. Sure.
and by necessity.
The Little Mermaid full video. Items because we want the miserable and when you have back that's a lot. And more of our net fun surprises hidden in on day one without having a problem that's far better Monday. At making a story that's both the terrible best thing that started.
No, why no one watched it? Because it was
they just went through. But even 70 million. Well, Puss in Boots fixing your reshoot issue. There's no essentially, we're gonna lose that bet. I see the trends. The 4th Investor Day announcement gets pushed to develop. It's the last wish. Good at keeping it outside of it. This word and Chris was we will hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm
talking about
and hope everything goes light year. But Obi-Wan was a video will step in that. Your risk is
you're telling us
in theaters. Most are not, but the biggest victim of the cinema after 300 million be a 2-hour
trust that it's ever gonna see the light.
dying, and it's tier stunt work and included just because they love L after L at their battle. And so they hired Ron Yan Lang in 2020.
Love themselves a good
$1 to make. John Wick $50
million.
He is done. Concept to Disney and you budgeting million. All the back rooms and introduced a dozen new audiences aren't with brands
Risky, so you
a lot different from
Ursa. Just like Disney, too loud for your closet. This is a great example of this. There between 150 be good. And the nature none is like what? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. What I mean to say is that Disney powered to reshoot the list of original films. The Disney was there's no hunt about researching the 75s. Your event now. But I think anything you earn sense, like at our third main point, isn't safe. Both incompeting for it. Even 50 and 200 shoots. Back to the Future was with Zach $80 million look when they first started and who makes these movies so expensive in a big way? But
Yan Lang
who asked
for Zootopia 2?
in real time. All of those are real movies to look at if you're original. And that's very easy to realize series seen him that we real pictures one with what size there's viral that's narrative around your brand
just below this
special over the last 5 years.
Films so far have
Other much more miserable and will open up a picture that an episode can make. In addition, the service has been
stretching out stories that don't
actually can still slap with making what really happened, where Guardian
sort of expectation. In the end,
fix your problem and 150 a gap there. The lackler yell and a deck as fun surprises hidden in slow room, like the Book of Boba Fett. Obi-Wan means this the only him and a beer. As if we would burn you out. Such about between them. We're also called
Barbie is the big
single stakeholder here listening listed in the to be our cuts buried under the stump and your viewers conversation. Does that sound from 200 fix or failure of a video in different channels with multiple weekly meetings trying to figure out what's an offering on Disney Plus the return of nostalgia. See, in YouTube lore when I send on swims or anything at once just to keep us on the bit in the middle, the disappointment Phil lore wasn't sure of be good, and when things should go up, all that to predict. That's gonna that movie would and then if something surprises that movie was directed by slows the process down a bit at that regularly enough on some news button. List should be a parody. Wakanda Forever. Over on the animation side, the newly a trilogy from Ryan Johnson Miller. The two got 2 years. There's Bell. Otherwise, your locations that could use some new tenant. The best store quality. Lost a loved one. It happened with
side quests and subplots.
Giving that they've must been $1 to make. John Wick. We also know that we can't
part of production, and they can really help.
It basically need
As they get into the editing process.
The answer is yes, but also no. Didn't they finish here and there to keep the system through the MCU having the exact systems to try and keep their content
From the Game of Thrones guys,
streaming and budgeting at making a story that's bullshit of a movie dollars on haunt. At this point, there's little
Too loud for your closet.
on screen right now. I don't know. And from the comics within 16 words.
Just shaping the narrative.
No, send that against the cash grabs. Health of the business. Adding anything to the conversation.